Immigration takes so long. It takes forever, and nowhere are these delays more frustrating than when you're dealing with consulates and embassies. If you're in the US or you're a US citizen or permanent resident and you have a family member that's in a foreign country and you're trying to get that person a visa through a visa petition process, it takes forever. If you're engaged to get married, there's a fiance visa. That's gonna take a year and a half, maybe more. If you're applying for your parents, that could take 2 years. If you're married and you want to bring your wife or your husband to the US, that could easily take 2 years if you start in 2021. These delays are insane. There's such a backlog of cases. It's heartbreaking and it destroys families. It has a profound impact on you and your life and your family. What can you do about this? Is there anything you can do about this? When I have consultations with people in this situation, they're always astonished at how long things take. And they always ask me, isn't there a shortcut? Isn't there some way to get around all this? Isn't there an easier, faster way? Most people's minds focus on the visitor visa or ESTA. And I say, well, listen, you go through the visa process, it's gonna take a year or two. They say, well, wait a minute. My fiance or my parents have a visitor visa or ESTA. Can't they just come into the US with ESTA? They could come in right now in the airport and then they could stay in the US and we could get a green card through marriage in the US. That'd be so much faster and easier. Why are you recommending this long process of visa application? Isn't there an easier way? Can't we use ESTA or the visitor visa? And that is the topic that I'm gonna talk about in today's video. If you don't know me, my name is Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer in Los Angeles. We have an office in Boston as well at my firm, and we help people across the country and around the world. And here, I'm the founder of Immigration Station. This YouTube channel is really devoted to you, helping you get unstuck and overcoming immigration obstacles. There's no bigger obstacle right now than the visa petition and application process. The delays at the consulates are horrible. Everything's taking a really long time. And on top of that, you have COVID travel restrictions, which add further complications to the mess. And we don't know what other travel restrictions might be coming down the road. It's a very uncertain process. Things take forever. They take so long. And the topic that I want to talk about in today's video is, isn't there a way around this by using the visitor visa? Can't you just come in with the visitor visa and get a green card in the US? Why waste all this time and energy going through consulates? I want to say right off the bat that you absolutely 100% can get a green card after entering with ESTA or a visitor visa. We have tons of cases where people get green cards through marriage or green cards through a petition filed by an adult child for a parent or parents for children, all sorts of family situations where the person who's getting a green card entered as a visitor either through ESTA or for a visitor visa. So it's totally possible to do this. The question though is, should you try and do this? Should you try to come in as a visitor with the intention of getting a green card in the US and use your visitor visa or ESTA instead of going through the consular processing system? It's very tempting because it seems quite quick. But I want to tell you a story about a client I had named Bill. And I think this will illustrate for you some of the risks associated with this. So Bill, super great guy. He had a girlfriend in Italy. This is before he started working with me. And he called me up one day and he said, Josh, I can't believe it. My girlfriend, she's arrested. She's at the airport. She's arrested. I said, well, what happened? He said, I don't know, but she was at the airport and she got arrested. Can you help me? Well, by the time I called over to the airport, she was already sent back to Italy. This was terrible news. I was trying to figure out what happened. And when I finally got the full story, what turned out is that he had a girlfriend who was very serious about her. She'd been coming in and out of the US using ESTA. And eventually, they pulled her aside. They started asking questions. They said, who are you coming to visit? And she said, I'm visiting a friend. They asked her if she was engaged to get married. She said no. They asked her all sorts of questions. And then they asked her if she had a boyfriend. She said no. And then they looked in her phone. They found all these emails from my friend. And they could see that she clearly had a significant other in the US. They didn't believe her. And they sent her back. They canceled her ESTA. And furthermore, sending her back was considered deportation. That was considered expedited removal. That's a technical term for deportation. He was devastated He wanted to be with her. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know way forward. At this point, her visitor status was canceled. And we went through the visa application process. But it wasn't the normal visa application process. It was a more difficult one. Because not only did she have to deal with the normal frustrations of the visa application process, but she had a fraud problem, because whatever she said in the interview, she was trying to talk her way out of things. She was trying to talk her way into the US, and they didn't believe what she was saying, and she told some little fibs or white lies, and that stuck with her, because then she was accused of fraud. And furthermore, like I said before, when they didn't let her in, they considered that to be deportation. We started off with her immigration case, and we added some waivers for fraud. We added waivers for deportation. This turned a normal visa application process into something much more difficult, much more expensive, and much more stressful. Ultimately, we got the case approved. But what this story illustrates are the risks associated with using the visitor visa. Now, if you try to use the visitor visa to get around the visa application process, you might have a terrible, terrible experience at the airport. Someone might stop you and question you, and they might ask you questions to see what your intention is when you're coming into the US. Are you really just a visitor? Are you going to Disneyland? Are you going to take a picture of the Grand Canyon? Are you just here to visit? Or do you have ties to the US? Is there something compelling you to be here? Do you have ties to your home country? Are you going to go back to your home country? These are all the issues that are going to come up. And when you're put in that dark dungeon at the airport and they're asking you questions, there's a risk that whatever you say might be interpreted as something that's misleading or fraudulent. And that's why I always caution my clients not to do this. If your goal is to get a green card and your goal is to be with your family and your goal is to live in the United States, do it right. Go through the consulates. Yes, it seems longer, but you're not going to be put in a situation where you may be accused of fraud, or you may do something that would take a straightforward immigration case and make it an extremely difficult one that would be highly complicated. There's an expression, shortcuts make long delay, and I always believe that. Do things right, do things the straightforward, simple way. Might take longer, sure, but you're doing it right. Don't break bad. Don't go to the dark side. Don't try to use the visitor visa for something that it's not. That's my tip. I'll see you in my next video.